These fools, they'll never learn.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Food for Thought YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name's Sean. If you're not new here, welcome back. Glad to have you back on the channel. And today I'm going to be reviewing an interesting film. Or at least what I think is an interesting film. And I'm pretty sure most people think it's fairly interesting. And that is the recent release of The Crippled Masters, 1980s The Crippled Masters. This is a recent Blu-ray release by Film Masters. I think it came out about 2 weeks ago, if I remember correctly. Just dropped. I decided to pick it up because, quite frankly, I hadn't seen this film for a very, very, very long time. We're talking 25 years I hadn't seen this film. And I'm pretty sure the last time I saw it was a very, very poor VHS copy of some kind. I don't even think it was an official VHS release. I think it was a bootleg. So it was nice to have this. This is actually a remastered release of the film. So it was very nice to have. I thought I would stick it on today and give it a go. I'm not going to be reviewing the special features or anything like that. I'm just focusing primarily on the film. Although I did check out one of the special features, and it is basically a show reel of old school kung fu trailers, which I really appreciated. Stuff like that is a really nice touch. Those old school trailers are really enjoyable. So The Crippled Masters, I've got my notes here. Directed by a gentleman called Law Chi. He actually directed a number of films. None of them really stand out to me. I mean, he's fine as a director from what I checked out, but nothing too special really. That's why I guess he's not mentioned really that much when the genre is discussed. And it's starring, so the two main stars, it's pretty difficult to determine what their actual names are. So one of them is Frankie Shum, aka Peter Shen, and then one of them is Jack Con, aka Thomas Hong. So it's a bit baffling really as to which one to use. I'm sure there's one that's commonly used over the other, but I might be switching them around. I don't know. I might use them interchangeably during this review. Anyway, the film. Let's get into the film. So one thing that's well known about The Crippled Masters is that it's a quote-unquote exploitation classic, right? Even people that aren't into the kung fu cinema genre, maybe they're into horror or just exploitation cinema in general, they might pick this film up because it's famously known as an exploitation film. Well, I'm here to say this film is a damn good kung fu film. A flat-out kung fu film. This is a really, really enjoyable flick. I was totally surprised. I honestly thought it was going to lean more towards the exploitation side than the kung fu side. Completely wrong. This is a kung fu film through and through. And to be honest, I'll even go as far as to say it's really not that much of an exploitation film. Honestly. It really isn't. Okay, so for those that don't know, the two lead actors in this film have disabilities. One is unable, well, I shouldn't say unable. Well, yeah, okay. One is, I've got to be careful with my language because I want to be, I want to use the right terms and everything like that. So I apologize if I overstep any kind of line. I'm a bit ignorant when it comes to that. But one of them cannot use his legs. And one of them has one arm completely missing, and then a smaller, I don't know if I can use this word, but I'm going to try, a smaller deformed arm on his other side. So the two lead actors have disabilities, and they are the guys that kind of fight throughout the film, and they do a hell of a job. And it is not really that much of an exploitation film, which is really surprising for a kung fu film, because in a kung fu film, if you're fat, your character's labeled fatty, piggy, whatever it may be throughout the film, and you're made fun of for being fat. And even some of the larger characters are kind of dong, 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 kind of big, fat, clunky idiots. Anything like that, and you're really made fun of. But these guys, they're not made fun of. They are not referred to as their disability throughout the film. All right, the term I'm going to use it because it's on the box. The term cripple is used maybe a handful of times. It's really not bashed over the head. It's established early, and then I guess it's a gimmick throughout the film, but it's never really mocked or teased or made fun of. It's just a way for them really to go, there's two guys, they have a very unique situation going on. Let's create the best fight choreography possible for these two guys. And honestly, they do. They absolutely nail it. Yeah, I can't say enough about this film. It's old school shapes as well, and it's good shapes. It's classic old school shapes. I will say that the gentleman, sorry, I should say his name, Frankie Shum. Frankie Shum, the one which has the smaller arm. What he can do with that arm is mental. He is doing old school shapes with a disabled arm. I don't know the language. With a smaller arm. And it's fantastic. And the guy without the use of his legs, Jack Conn, he is seated and he's doing straight shapes with his arms. He is rolling around. He is using his arms to walk. It is bonkers, but it's so well done. It's a celebration. That's what it is. I sound like Rick James. It's a celebration, bitches. It's so well done. It is a celebration of, not celebration of disabilities, but a celebration of what you can do when you apply yourself to disabled people, and also what disabled people can apply themselves to. And I know I'm sounding like a motivational speakery here. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just trying to say that this film is a rarity for a kung fu film, because usually it would I'm pretty sure it would make fun of that stuff, and it doesn't at all. It's really, really fucking good. The plot's a simple one, really. I will go into a few dodgy moments. I will speak to those. So the film opens up with Frankie Shum, and it opens up with this right away. The first thing that's happening is Frankie Shum gets his arm cut off. First scene, literally the first second of the film. Oof. In fact, the first scene you see is an arm falling to the ground. An arm chopped off. Done. That's Frankie Shum. Now, it gets a bit strange because they chop his other arm off. But the thing is, Frankie Shum isn't missing a second arm. He has a form of a second arm. It's just smaller and, deformed. But they chop his arm off and they don't talk about the fact that he still has an arm. They just go, oh, he's got no arms now. He's got no arms whatsoever. We've chopped both of his arms off. And they don't mention, it's very, very silly and very daft. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It would have been better if with Jack Conn, they pour acid on his legs, because he has his legs. If you're not familiar with the film, the actor Jack Conn has his legs. They're just, they look very withered and they're just not in use. So he folds them underneath him and fights that way. But the bad guy pours acid on his legs. It would have been better if they would have poured acid on Frankie Shum's other arm. That would have made more sense. But to chop it off and then there still be a form of an arm, yeah, it makes no sense. Then the funniest thing, this is the funniest thing in the film, in my opinion. He gets both arms chopped off, quote unquote, and then does he go to a doctor? Does he ask for someone for help? No, he goes and has a cup of tea. He goes and has a cup of tea at the local, I guess it's a restaurant, or tea house. I guess tea house. He just stops by there and he has a cup of tea with no arms. He's still bleeding. He's got blood on his arms. He goes there and has a cup of tea. So that's mental. But the rest of the film is basically a traditional kung fu flick. The quote unquote masters, or the titular masters, they meet, they start training in kung fu in order to get revenge on the people that injured them, right? Simple as that. There's some solid training sequences. They're not going to blow your mind. They're not the best in the world, but yes, they are good. I genuinely enjoyed them. And watching these guys do what they do is incredible. They're taught by, I had to look this guy up. I don't have his name, but their teacher is he's only been in one film, which is this film. And he's a real life yoga master. And he has some, he can do a lot with his body. He teaches them some stuff. And then basically it's a bit of revenge flick. But the thing is, what slightly irked me is they bring in a third character, and he has an interesting story in that the third character, he's hired by the bad guys, and then he ends up being a good guy. Essentially, that's really his arc. But I don't like that he's added to the mix, because it kind of takes away from the two leading characters. Yeah. I don't know. And it's Chen Mi Chuan, who is actually the fight choreographer of the film. He's the third character. He's great. He fights well, and he brings an interesting kind of dynamic to proceedings, but it kind of takes away from the two leads, in my opinion. And then, of course, they throw in this fucking stupid random plot about, I think it's 8 jade horses, literal jade statuettes of horses, and how if you get your hands on these 8 jade statuettes, you can learn kung fu from them. Sure, why not? They do. Obviously, they get hold of them, and then they magically just learn fucking kung fu just by... It doesn't even tell you how. The third guy, Chen Mu Chuan, he looks at the 8 jade horse, and he's like, yes, now I get it. You can combine your skills to become the better fighters, blah, blah, blah. And he just doesn't explain anything whatsoever. It's very frustrating, and it makes no sense. But it's a kung fu film, and it rarely makes sense in kung fu films. There's scrolls and books that teach you everything in the world about kung fu. They'll have one single scroll, and they'll be like, yep, I know everything about that style. So this is kind of one of those things. It's 8 jade horses, makes no sense, but hey, it is what it is. The guy, Jack Con, the guy who cannot use... Sorry, I keep forgetting their names. I've got it on my notes here. I keep forgetting their names. So if he's Thomas Hong, I apologize. So Jack Con, a.k.a. Thomas Hong, he actually does Mantis Fist. Not a lot of it. Occasionally he'll be fighting and he'll throw out the Mantis. And I was like, is he using Mantis Fist or is he not? Is he just briefly doing that just while he's fighting? Is it just a move that he's doing? Or I do this a lot, don't I? Is it a move that he's doing? Or is he actually using Mantis Fist? Then at the end, they say, oh, you should combine your Mantis Fist with this. I'm just like, oh, okay. So he is doing Mantis. All in all, it leads to a spectacular finale. If you can imagine, if you can take a guess as to what happens in the finale, like how they beat the main bad guy, if you haven't seen this film, go ahead and take a guess how they beat him. You're 100% right. Whatever thought pops in your head, that's it. You're absolutely right. It's exactly what you think it is. I won't spoil it, but it's exactly what you think it is. The fight scenes are great. I mean, it's so good. I really like this film. I'll say it's up there as one of the better kung fu films I've seen recently. And one of the main things about it that is really surprising, it doesn't have goofy comedy, which I was shocked by. Occasionally you get early on you get one kind of goofy scene, but it's nothing egregious, nothing like insulting. And then for some weird reason, even in scenes that are serious, you get wah, 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 wah music in the background. And I don't know why. There's this like stealth scene where they're going to steal the 8 jade horses. And it's just a stealth scene. It's at night. They're creeping. They're trying to find where the horses are. It's wah, 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 wah. It's like, what the fuck's going on? Why are you playing that music over this scene? Very strange. The last thing I'll say about this film, and this speaks to this actual release, there is a lot of frames missing in this release. A lot. you'll get like someone will be fighting, let's say they're doing mantis fist, and they'll jump from this to like here, and that jump will be like quite in your face, quite shocking. Especially there's like the first fight scene, so many cuts, so many jumps, lots of frames missing. Obviously they didn't do it on purpose. I imagine the print was terrible and they just weren't able to find those frames. I don't really know how that works, forgive me, I'm not that technically minded, but lots of frame jumps. Not as bad towards the end, thankfully, but early on, pretty in your face. But to have a classic like this remastered, you know, it's pretty special, I'm really glad to have this. Looking forward to check out some of the other special features. There's a full commentary on this with Will Sloan and Justin DeClow. Is it DeClow? DeClow. There's a documentary called Kings of Kung Fu, Releasing the Legends. And then there's a few, they actually put the entire old print on this disc. So you can watch it remastered, or you can watch the dodgy old print, which I haven't watched yet, but I imagine it's terrible. Wrapping up here, I'm going to keep this one nice, short, and swift. But I will tell you, pick this up. Oh, it does say, okay, on the front, it calls, I should pay attention. On the front, it calls them Frankie Shum and Jackie Con. I was calling him Jack Con. Jackie Con, Frankie and Jackie. Okay, I should pay more attention. Go ahead and get this film. If you're an old school fan, go ahead and get this film. It's like, if you think it's going to be offensive, it's not offensive. Like I said, it's a general celebration of these two guys and what they can do. It's fantastic. Also, what? Excuse me, got something stuck in my throat. What Frankie Shum can do with the staff, very, very impressive. I mean, what these guys can do is just impressive in general. It's a wonderful film. Yeah, I highly recommend it if you can get your hands on it. If you like old school Kung Fu, especially without stupid comedy, I really think you'll enjoy this one. I watched it dubbed, but there is a Mandarin track on this. So you can watch it subbed if you want. I watched it dubbed just because it's a classic. I tend to watch my classics dubbed. Yeah, there you have it. Crippled Avengers. Great film. Really enjoyed it. I implore everyone to get it, simply because we need more films like this released. I should say, it has a nice little booklet in here, and the booklet has a wonderful essay about disabled cinema and crippled masters in general. It's really, really good. I read it earlier and it was a fascinating read. So I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. If you like what you see, please throw me a like, throw me a comment. I love receiving comments. I do respond to all of them. Hopefully, if I've missed one, I'm sorry, but I do like to respond to all of them. And if you like this channel in general, please go ahead and subscribe. I would really, really appreciate that. Yeah, okay, I've got a few more reviews in the pipeline, a few more coming up. One that I'm really, really looking forward to, which I can't talk about right now, but it should be available at the end of this month. Yes, anyway, I'll drop that soon. So thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate you, and I will catch you next time.